Ever have one of those days where you just feel unlucky, or maybe the complete opposite, like you can't lose? Well, today we're going to talk about a man whose life basically took both of those feelings and turned them up to 11. His name is Frane Selak, and his story is so wild, it really makes you question what luck even is.
So, what's the verdict here? Was this guy the unluckiest man on earth? A walking, talking disaster magnet who stared death in the face 7 different times? Or was he the luckiest? A guy who could walk away from things that should have been, without a doubt, fatal? That's the puzzle we're going to try to solve today.
All right, so let's meet the man himself, Frane Selak. He was born back in 1929 in Croatia, and for the first 30-something years of his life, he was about as ordinary as it gets. He was a music teacher, just living a quiet, totally normal life. But that quiet life, it was about to get really, really loud. Starting when he was 33, Frane's life turns into something that feels more like a Hollywood action movie script. It all kicked off in 1962 with an event that, for anyone else, would be a once-in-a-lifetime trauma. But for Frane, this was just the warm-up act. I mean, just look at this timeline. It is absolutely relentless. In 62, a train he's on flies off the tracks into a frozen river, killing 17 people. The very next year, he gets sucked out of an airplane. Then, a few years later, a bus crashes into another river. And that's followed by 2 completely separate incidents where his car catches on fire. Any one of these is insane. All of them happening to one guy. It's statistically impossible. Okay, we have to zero in on that 1963 plane crash because it is by far the most unbelievable piece of the puzzle. It was his first, and you can guess why, his only flight. A door blows open midair, and he gets sucked right out of the plane. The crash killed all 19 other people on board. And Frane? He lands in a haystack. A haystack. You literally can't make this stuff up. So, as you can probably imagine, he started to get a certain reputation around town. He became this living legend, but not exactly in a good way. People got nervous around him. Apparently, his friends literally stopped accepting rides from him. It seemed like whatever guardian angel he had was only looking out for him. After that last car fire in 1973, things actually went quiet for a long time, like over 20 years. Frane went back to his normal life. You'd think, okay, his cosmic bad luck subscription finally ran out. But nope. Fate was just on a coffee break, and in the mid-90s, it came back for an encore. So get this, in 1995, he's 66 years old, an age where a simple fall can be a huge deal. What happens to Frane? Oh, nothing much. He just gets hit by a city bus. And the result? He basically just dusts himself off and walks away with a few scrapes. But believe it or not, that wasn't even the grand finale. Okay, I want you to picture this. The year is 1996. Frane is driving his car on a winding mountain road. You know the kind, sharp turns, steep cliffs. It's the perfect setting for a climax. He comes around a blind corner, and bam, there it is. A massive United Nations truck is barreling right towards him. There's nowhere to go. He has a split second to react. He does the only thing he can. He swerves hard. His car smashes right through the guardrail and goes sailing off the cliff, plummeting 300 feet down. This is it. This has to be the end. But he's not in the car. In this moment of pure chaotic physics, the impact threw his door open. And because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, he was paranoid about being trapped in another fire, remember? He was ejected from the driver's seat. He somehow managed to grab onto a tree on the cliffside as he was flying out, and he just hung there, watching his own car explode at the bottom. So that was his 7th and final brush with death. He survived everything fate could throw at him. So what else could possibly happen? Well, the answer is the most ironic, unbelievable twist in the entire story. No, I'm serious. Just think about it for a second. If you were writing this story, what would happen next? The reality is way stranger than anything you could probably come up with. In 2003, now 74 years old, Frane Selak buys the lottery ticket. It was the first time he'd bothered to in 40 years. And he won. Not just a little bit. He won the grand prize, about 800,000 euros. In an instant, the man the media called a jinx was now being called the luckiest man in the world.
But what he did with that money is maybe the most telling part of his entire life story. This is where we learn what he really thought was important. Did all that cash finally give him the peace and happiness that life had seemed to deny him?
So at first, yeah, he did what most of us would do. He bought a nice house, a boat. But by 2010, he came to a pretty profound conclusion. The money wasn't making him happy. So he sold everything, gave most of the winnings away to his family and friends, and went back to his little old house to live a quiet life. For Frane, true luck wasn't the jackpot. It was the simple peace he found after giving it away. Now, it's worth pointing out that some of these events are tough to verify with official records. But whether every single detail is 100% accurate or just a little bit embellished over time, his story is this perfect textbook example of what we call survival bias. We're fascinated by his story because he's the one who survived to tell it. We can't hear from the 17 people on that train or the 19 people on that plane. In the end, though, Frane himself probably summed it up best. He said this, and it just perfectly captures the two sides of his life. It all just depends on how you look at it, right? Are you focusing on all the terrible things that happened, or the incredible fact that he walked away from them all? After a life that was just one unbelievable chapter after another, Frane Selak's final moments were incredibly ordinary. He didn't die in some freak accident. He passed away peacefully from natural causes at the age of 87. A quiet end that was denied to so many people he crossed paths with. So that brings us right back to where we started. A man who survived 7 catastrophes, won the lottery, and then found happiness by giving it all away. Was he the unluckiest man in the world or the luckiest? It kind of makes you wonder, what is true luck anyway? Is it dodging disaster or is it just finding peace in a quiet life?